is a presentation of the iRacing Esports Network.
To the front bumper, and he hits him again now. Ray Alfala into the outside wall.
He's gonna pass nearly 3 cars down that front straightaway, and he's gonna get them all done with. What amazing!
Lead to the inside goes Logan Clapman is gonna touch in. Pit press sideways. What a save!
Look to the outside as Tronke goes off. De Jong into second place.
I'm going for the switchback. Oh, pinpoint driving.
It's Howling down to the inside.
Trying this contact though.
Slide left to the racetrack. Chris Leonard drives it back down underneath, and he takes that second spot right back. Joker goes to Garrett Lowe.
Garrett Lowe should take victory with all that contact.
He's going to try and make the move around the upset the Paravolca. That's not going to work, but he's going to try and get the back here. Get the run out the Paravolca. That's beautifully done there. Makashube, there's a little bit of door banging as well.
The most realistic online racing sim ever made. This is iRacing. Detailed laser scan tracks, fully dynamic real world cars, and over 50 series to choose from. 6 online world championships offering over $100,000 in annual prizes. This is the original esport racing game. This is iRacing.
Welcome, one and all, to a very special season finale event here on the iRacing Esports Network, presented by ourselves, SimSpeed TV. This is the SimSpeed Porsche Supercup Australasia, round 10 at the Mount Panorama Circuit, the final round of the season. we've got a championship to decide at Bathurst once again. My name is Reese Gardner. Joining me in the commentary box, Jay Kennedy. Jay, it's been a long and hard-fought season in the Porsche Supercup Australasia, but here we are at the final hurdle.
Yeah, thanks, Reese. It's been an awesome season. We've seen some incredible racing, and tonight we're definitely going to have a great show. Bathurst always turns it on. An hour race, one pit stop required. It's a completely different format. We've only seen it once throughout the season so far, and it's going to be an awesome event. Looking forward to seeing how it plays out, and great to see that we've still got the championship up for grabs as well, with 3 drivers that have a chance, a mathematical chance of winning.
Yeah, certainly. Those drivers are Joshua Anderson, Michael Healy, and David Haynes. Josh Anderson, 27-20, the number of points he has. He is the clear favourite for the championship, but Michael Healy not too far behind. He's been Mr. Consistency and is the champion of last season. David Haynes still in it by just a little, purely by consistent finishes.
Yeah, mathematical chance of winning is David Haynes. He needs a DNF for Michael Healy and Josh Anderson, but that's highly unlikely with the way the format is. So it basically means it's down to the teammates between Anderson and Healy. If Anderson finishes ahead of Healy, Anderson wins the championship. It's as simple as that. But we saw the final of the Sprint Series Australasia that you can't discount anything when it's Mount Panorama. And we're hopefully going to have a great show. Sorry, bro.
Yeah, absolutely. You cannot discount anything at Mount Panorama, be it the track itself, the cars, or technical issues. It's certainly one of those tracks that turns it on no matter what kind of racing is there. In terms of the team's championship, just before we get going into the race session, One Performance Racing looks well and truly in the lead, and I think they are definitely going to seal the team's title here.
Yeah, I don't think they can be passed by TTL Esports the way that they've gone this season as well. They thoroughly deserve the championship in there as well. Great to see Trick Sim Sports coming through late in the season as well. They've sort of had a bit of a resurgence in this series late on in the season, and great to see a few other teams doing very, very well as well, with DPR once again being the best of the rest from the big name teams. They've done a great job and really come a long way throughout the Porsche Supercup and also the Geodesic Racing Sprint Series Australasia.
How about that privateer team, eh?
They go all right, that privateer team, don't they?
Bit of a rising star, eh? Privateer. Look out for it in the next championships we hold in the AusNZ community. But joking aside, it just goes to show the breadth of talent that we have in this field, that the privateer drivers as a grouping are currently 3rd in the team's standings. That really goes to show, doesn't it?
It's been amazing to see the different drivers that we've had throughout the series as a whole, and that we've seen all different sorts of winners, all different sorts of formats, and all different sorts of racing as well. It's gonna be a little bit sad to have this season finish up. We've had some great fun on Wednesday nights over the past 20 weeks, and for it to all end tonight is actually a little bit sad. I'm a bit upset about it.
Yeah, I think that too. It's been quite nice having, every Wednesday night taken up with some form of racing, with, of course, Sprint Series Australasia and this. It's a real shame to see this series go, but hopefully it can come back for another season and we can see what kind of talent graces us that time around. It certainly has been a series that has shown the multi-talentedness of quite a few drivers in the AusNZ community. Well, we are in the race session now, and the grid will be as follows. Joshua Anderson has taken pole by just a couple hundredths of a second from Dane Warren for All-Star Motorsports. Michael Healy is in 3rd, with Ethan Warren and Greg Stewart rounding out the top 5. Gary Hamilton in 6th, with Jordan McDonnell in 7th. Scott Kozlowski in 8th. The top 10 rounded out by Adam Briggs and Ross Rizzo.
David Haynes will start from 11th position. Hard work for him to come through and win the championship. Must win the race and hope for some misfortunes from both Anderson and Healy. Jimmy Ball alongside him on the 6th row and 12th position. Thomas Hinds and Cameron Dance on the 7th row with Cody Bircher, Richard Hunter, then McMillan, Weston, Harris and Cossey rounding out the top 20.
Steve Jansen for CMR team in 21st, with Isaac Edwards in 22nd. That's the last driver to set a time, and the rest of the drivers currently in the server, including myself, mistakenly, apologies. Jake Maloney has taken the grid with Mitch McLeod actually starting up in last place. So El Nabi, Maloney, and McLeod rounding out your field tonight. But we are getting ready to go here at Bathurst. Josh Anderson starting from pole, and it's going to be a short run to turn 1. But we know from past races at Bathurst that the first lap is always an interesting one. The revs are rising. We wait for the green flag. The final round of the SimSpeed Porsche Supercup Australasia is go. And Josh Anderson looking to come under immediate attack from Dane Warren, who's gotten a very good start, attempting the outside at Hell Corner. Not able to do it. But Dane Warren tucking right in the slipstream there. We've got a big battle on for the lead already.
We have in the background, we saw a little bit of a slide from Thomas McMillan, but at the front, Warren's going to have to go around the outside. Going to be tough to do. We've seen it done, but it's not easy to go around the outside through Griffin's Bend. And Anderson's going to lead them away going up the mountain the first time.
Yeah, certainly. But, you know, Dane Warren, he needs to be careful here not to interfere too much in the championship battle, because he is sandwiched between position 1 and position 2 in the drivers' standings right now. So if he makes contact with Anderson, if Anderson crashes due to those actions, then it's going to be a free kick to Michael Healy, which will certainly be an interesting way to end things. But Anderson, across the top, seems to very much be holding his own. And Michael Healy already carrying a little bit of damage, it seems.
Yeah, Healy with a little scrape on the wall. It's very, very easy to do going up the mountain as they come down through the dip of the first time. And Healy doesn't look comfortable. It looks like Ethan Warren's applying a little bit of pressure. And Healy's looking in his mirrors a little bit more than looking ahead at the moment.
Yeah, which is something that he doesn't really need to be doing right now. He needs to keep his eyes forward and on those top 2. Try and battle for the championship against Mr. Anderson, but it seems to me, unfortunately, Healy running into some dramas on the first lap. Side by side in the background, though, Gary Hamilton and Jordan McDonald. Who, Jay?
Isaac Edwards in the wall coming down the mountain, and go back to that battle because McDonald ran the outside at the king.
Boy.
Hamilton's going to get it done around the outside. Good move.
Yes, indeed. And McDonald in a little bit of trouble now versus Scott Zyslowski. Adam Briggs in this as well. Proper battle here for the remaining positions in the top 10. Look at David Haynes having a look at the inside of Ross Rizzo at Murray's. Oh, two-wheeling it a bit, losing momentum. Unfortunately, that is not... Oh, caution flag? That might be for Edwards.
Yeah, Edwards has stopped at Forest Elbow, so we are under caution. So... going to mix up the strategy here. We know that the drivers need a pit stop, but it would not be a bad move for some of these drivers in the midfield. Take a pit stop now, then when they have to make their actual pit stop during the race, they'll have a very, very short stop.
Yeah, certainly will. That would definitely make things a bit easier for quite a few drivers in the field. It's obviously the strategy game at Bathurst always gets thrown up in longer races like this, so the question on my mind is who is going to be the one to pit first? I would definitely expect those people up the front to be the first ones to pit.
Yeah, we've seen some really mixed up strategies play out with these guys. So I think Anderson and Warren might stay out, but the likes of Healy, he's got nothing to lose there. You already see him slowing down, possibly might even look to get a little bit of that damage fix that he's got.
True.
And try and work his way back through the field. But guys from about 10th, 12th back, David Haynes would have to come into the pits, got nothing to lose. Just got to try something different and hope for the best, but he needs to get to the front. So staying out there, I don't know if it's the best move for him. But a few guys might come in and get that dash of fuel and then go from there.
Absolutely. Of course, the pit stop is forced via a fuel restriction, so drivers need to be mindful of that they don't go for the wrong fuel amount and accidentally not put enough in when it comes time. Tell you what, these guys have had to make their way around a whole lap before they actually catch up to the safety car. Which is a bit interesting. Seems that the timing of the pace car call was obviously not... Oh, hang on a minute. Josh Anderson, he's clutching down into Murray's.
Trying to save as much fuel as he can right now, so apologies for a couple of mic issues I'm having. Hopefully it's sorted itself. And yeah, Anderson is already saving a bit of fuel, and very, very important to save as much as you can. Of course, that's going to mean maybe another 2-3 seconds at the stop when it does come around. You can save it. But yeah, the caution come out just as they were coming through Hell Corner, so the safety car wasn't able to get out there before they'd passed the pit exit. So another lap before the pace car's out. There it is, and they're going to have to go around again, and then the pits will open next time by, and it'll be a mad dash for a few cars at the back of the field.
It certainly will. Now, of course, the race being timed, it's certainly going to mean that the race distance is a bit altered due to this safety car. So a lap around Bathurst in terms of pace car speeds, I suppose, is somewhere in the realm of 3 minutes in these cars. Would that be correct, Jay?
Yeah, I think you're about right there, around the 3.5 minute mark. That lap there where they were just slowing down a little bit, 2:30. So, of course, they got another 2 laps under caution, and probably mean we're going to have about 48 minutes of racing or so to go. That could make it really interesting, as you said, with the strategy play. 50% fuel restriction as the drunk pace car driver just decides to hit the wall a little bit there and continue on.
Absolutely.
One thing we were talking about just before we come on the air is the amount of wind out on the circuit at the moment. It's incredible how windy it is out there on track.
Yeah, absolutely. It's 34 km/h winds from a northwesterly direction, so that translates to a slight headwind down Conrod and a slight tailwind up Mountain Straight.
Which
so definitely help for the draft.
Yeah,
down
definitely.
Conrod.
I was going to say the draft down Conrod, and it'll also help with the braking into the chase as well, because then as you come around the corner at the chase, you're then fully into the wind, and will really help guys be a little bit more committed. We could see some extra passing opportunities into the chase. One thing they'll have to be careful of is as they swing into Griffin's Bend, they'll then have the wind right behind them, and they'll have to make sure that they don't get caught out by that wind as they go through the corner there. It could unsettle a few cars, force them a little bit wide.
Yeah, absolutely. Then there would be basically completely broadsided by the wind through Griffins. Dane Warren currently on the flash button on the headlights. So Isaac Edwards has gone into the pits and retired, it seems. He is out of the car. So the field backing up now behind the safety car.
Only had one real mover through the field on that first flying lap. Jake Baloney +4 positions. Now finds himself in position 20, and Jason Cossey has dropped back to the last of the current runners from 20th back to 24th. But I think that's more just to get out of the way of those guys that we know are very, very quick at the back. McLeod, El Nabi, even Steve Jansen, who's done a great job recently, and Maloney coming through the field. It's going to be really interesting to watch how those guys go and how they tackle this traffic.
Yeah, 100%. I'm really looking forward to seeing that, because obviously the start of the end of this safety car period is going to be a rolling single file one. So it should mean a bit of a cleaner run up and down the mountain, a bit more of a chance for certain people to make moves. So the pit road should now be open, and we'll see who goes in. It looks like our leaders definitely staying out. And who's that? Oh, Sislowski faking it. That's bizarre. It seems like almost no one is going for a stop.
Yeah, I'm surprised by this. I think someone might get caught out a little bit by this. As I said, the guys at the back have got nothing to lose. And you see Mitch McLeod, Jake Maloney, the only ones that have decided to come in, which and Jason Cossey as well. So these guys probably thought about it. I mean, when you're 5th last, 2nd last, and the last car on the track, you've got absolutely nothing to lose. These are all easy position gains for them when it comes around for time to them to actually make their proper pit stop. They could jump, say, 10 or 12 drivers just from this 10 minutes of fuel that they're going to put in the car now.
That's exactly right. It looks like they're going for tyres as well. So These guys just going
Making
for
the most of it.
the total fresh up. Yeah.
Why not?
Isaac Edwards back out onto the track as well.
We'll be hoping he can last a little bit longer this time around. Rejoining at the back of the field is currently 2 laps down. He lost 2 laps from that incident. But we get ready to go as they come up to the top of the mountain this time. We'll probably have about 23 laps of green flag running from that point on. We know from these races at this circuit in this series, and races at this circuit, that we're going to be in for a hell of a show. And we know that when we saw races at Bathurst last year in the Porsche Supercup, we saw a hell of a show, and the guys were really, really committed by the end of the race. And tyre wear become a little bit of a factor as well with the longer race. It's the longest of the season. It's going to catch a few drivers out that may not have prepared, especially with the track being as warm as it is too. Currently 28 degrees, but it is climbing. It's dropped a little bit now that we're back under caution, but it was already climbing under that qualifying session and now under the race conditions.
Yes, indeed. The drivers will have to take that into account, particularly across the top as the racing line heats up. Of course, the Porsche Supercup machines, they're already quite slippery cars to drive. They do rely more on mechanical grip than aero grip, and even then they don't have much of that. So once that racing line heats up, it's definitely going to be the more difficult task for these guys to set those fast lap times, to stay consistent and get on the brakes nice and easy, especially through these S's. Those walls, always very close, always willing to catch someone out.
I think that's the thing too, in these sort of conditions, in this circuit, with these cars, is consistency is more important than actual outright pace. If you can lap consistently within your best lap time, lap after lap, you're going to find yourself in a much better position than the guys that might be really, really quick at the start, but just have a massive fall off. Staying consistent around this circuit is so important, and a lot easier said than done. So those guys that are consistent are going to be the ones that are going to find their way forward, moving forward, and incidents across the top of the mountain. Hopefully we don't see any more, but there is a potential for chaos and mayhem across the top.
There absolutely is. I mean, it's Bathurst. There's always something that goes wrong for someone at this track. And Joshua Anderson will definitely be hoping that he is not the one that happens to. They're going to come down through the chase. Just a few more corners to go until we go green again here. The race approaching 13 minutes of run time here. And he's already pulling back from the pace car. It's going to be up to him to lead the field away once the pace car goes into the pits. And Jay, we usually see drivers put the hammer down at the apex of Murray's.
Yeah, it's seen or either just there or just before Murray's. And Josh Anderson has driven a lot of races real life with safety car conditions, so know how to play this and work it out, understand when's the right time to go. And you can see waiting. I think he's just going to pull away just before the apex. We'll get back under green flag conditions in round 10.
He goes directly at the apex as the green flag flies. We are away racing once again. The driver's starting lap 5. Already in the background, Ethan Warren pressuring Michael Healy there. But the field is well and truly away. Looks like a nice clean run through the first turn for just about everybody. Scotty Harris having a slight off, but other than that, seems okay. Side by side, though, Gary Hamilton and Greg Stewart. This could get interesting.
Sure could. Stewart holding onto that position, but Gary Hamilton looks like he wants to get moves done, and moves done quickly. Dame Warren also looking really quick. Just moving aside and trying to put some pressure on Josh Anderson. Not able to do it yet, but I think Anderson will be starting to feel that flurry from behind. Has got an incident. Jordan McDonald very, very slow coming out of the cutting.
Yeah, very much so. This is a very awkward position for David Haynes to be in behind him, almost glancing off the wall there. So now Haynes sandwiched between McDonald and Jimmy Ball. So Jordan, unfortunately, that's a very bad place to make a mistake, because there's nowhere for you to go off track and let the field by in a constructive way. He's managed to get himself going very nicely, though, which is good to see. The field's just going single file now through the S's, as you would. Cody Bircher pushing very hard there behind Thomas McMillan.
McMillan a little bit of damage to that rear wing as well, so he's clipped the wall at some point. Oh, Bircher though hit the wall very hard.
Yes, indeed. Just getting on the throttle a bit too early out of Forest Elbow. Easy to do in these cars. Oh,
McLeod.
Oh dear. And it looks like the front end of that thing well and truly smashed in. That's a real shame to see. What on earth happened to him there?
CPR
looks like he just lost it.
Replay on screen. We'll see exactly what happened. Maybe a technical issue at the same time, and just around his corner. I know he's been playing with a lot of new equipment in the last few days, and that won't be what he wanted. It's negated any advantage he had from that pit stop, but it's on for the lead because Dane Warren and Josh Anderson broken away from the rest of the field. Warren's sticking with him here. Warren's just done the fastest lap of the race. And this is going to be on up the mountain. Tailwind, of course. See if it helps.
Yeah, certainly. The driver's reaching just over 230 kilometers an hour as they crest the hill. Anderson going defensive against Warren, and have a look at how much stronger Dane was on the brakes there. Unfortunately, just wide. Keeps it out of the wall, though. Very well held. We know from experience, Jay, just how hard it is to maintain the outside line through Griffins.
It's not only hard, it's almost impossible to hold that outside line. So Dane did a great job to not hit the wall and not lose too much momentum. He's dropped a couple of tenths, but the way that he's looking at the moment, he's going to close that back up and close it up fairly quickly. But Anderson, you can tell he's a bit worried. He's a little bit nervous because he's defending very aggressively so early.
Yeah, he definitely is, and I think that really shows, above all, that Warren may have the advantage in race pace. You can see how much he's drawing up on Anderson coming down the mountain through the S's.
In qualifying as well, these two are pretty evenly matched in times. Anderson got the pole, and then Dane Warren took the pole away by 2/200ths of a second. And then Anderson got it back again by 2/200ths of a second. So these guys have been trading lap times all night long. And now in the race, they're going to match lap times pretty much the whole way through. As just seeing Scotty Anderson's losing a couple of spots, and Jake Maloney's going to come through. A little bit of damage to the rear of his car.
Yeah, certainly. Unfortunately, Forzen Elnabi coming through at Forest Elbow made contact with Harris. So that's a bit of a shame for Scotty. But Maloney through into what will now be, I believe, 18th position.
CPR car parts replay on screen of that with Harris and Elnabi, and you just see the contact there. One of those incidents that you see all the time at Bathurst. We saw it between teammates in the real life 1000. It happens all the time where a car up the inside there just doesn't quite judge, or the car on the outside doesn't quite judge the other car. And tell you what, the front race, we've got OPR versus ASM, OPR versus ASM.
Yeah, battle packs splitting up into 2x2 here at the moment. And Warren has caught right back up to Anderson, done a very good job to claw that gap back. We'll see what he can do, but Anderson, you can definitely tell, is under a lot of pressure right now. Holding up well, though.
Oh, no!
Oh, no!
Dane Warren!
Oh, goodness me, that's a very awkward spot. On the wall.
Safety
and that
car.
Is the caution flag out.
Yep, no surprise with that call. But Dane just clipped the inside wall coming through that section of track. Just got a little bit of understeer and then tried to overcorrect it. Then the car just straight into the wall when it found grip.
Yeah, goodness me. I tell you who also didn't benefit much from that one is Michael Healy, who unfortunately clipped Warren there. So he's got a bit of damage from that, I would gather. Just slight, though.
There's a little bit... might not have had as much damage as we originally thought.
Might have just gotten away with it.
Yeah, might have got away with it. Just a slight little clip. But that was a heavy, heavy hit for Dane Warren. He's back in the pits. He is out of the race. And that's disappointing because that was shaping up to be a really interesting fight there. I think it's going to be a little bit of an anticlimactic one there because that was shaping up to be something really, really special. We would have loved to see Dane continue on in that fight there, but a few drivers starting to make their way through the field. We've got McMillan +3, Elnabi, Maloney and and McLeod also up spots, but El Nabi and Maloney are up 7. If they pit again, they might nearly make it home from here.
Yeah, that's a good point. We'll have to keep an eye on those guys, see what they can do. That is a real shame for Dane Warren, though. It just goes to show that particular section of the track, it's so hard to judge what your line is.
When you're following
that particular section of the track, yeah, especially when you're following, and especially in these cars, because they've got so much weight over the rear axle. When you get on the throttle, you're basically just guiding the front tires as to what to do. You're not so much steering the car, you're more just suggesting where it's going to go in these Porsches. So you turn in just a slight bit too early, and that is going to be the end of it at a track like this.
Well, as I said, a little bit of understeer as well, which you get when you're following another car, and left-hand drive as well, which can catch a lot of drivers out, which race or who race this track quite a lot in the V8 Supercar. Jumping into a left-hand drive car can catch you out a little bit. Now, that could be something that's happened there to Dane Warren, because we know how much he drives the V8 here. But it's going to really mix up the strategy. I wouldn't be surprised to see most of the field come in under this caution period. From there, we're going to be pretty close to making it home on fuel. That puts it down to about a 34 minute sprint.
So essentially it turns into business as usual for this series over the
sort of, yeah.
Yeah. Oh dear, I do think there needs to be a sobriety test for that pace car driver.
Yeah, he's not sure who it is in the pace car, but
can't say I recognise him.
No, I don't either. He's,
he might have snuck in. No security at the gate.
He's not a Bathurst local for sure.
No, certainly not.
Of course, talking of that, this is public road, so anyone that has never ever experienced the Mount Panorama circuit in real life, make sure you do go and experience it, because it is an absolute surreal place. We talk about it all the time, but we only say it because we absolutely mean it. It is so surreal to go there and actually experience this track.
Yeah, Bathurst, subject to more commentary cliches than just about any other circuit in Australia, possibly the world. So. Yeah, deservedly so. Those cliches, they always have a root in reality, and Bathurst is definitely a circuit that is that really matches up to the myth.
It's an amazing place, and it's got an amazing aura around it. The entire city of Bathurst has an amazing aura around it. When you can come into the city and you see the mountain off in the background, and just get a feel for the entire city. The entire city is motorsport mad, essentially. Great to see that we've got places around the world that are still motorsport mad, like we used to have way back in the day when we used to have tracks everywhere. It's a bit sad, but Bathurst City Council do a great job. Of course, they're building a new circuit in the coming years as well, so we'll have permanent racing, and then we'll have the mountain as well.
Yeah, definitely, and a big plus for that is that it will bring motorcycle racing back to the Bathurst area. Obviously, the first race at Bathurst was a motorcycle race in 1938, and the Easter racing carnival, I suppose you could call it, was a big part of this track's history. But unfortunately, those concrete walls, while they definitely helped the cars, they didn't help the bikes. And the last motorcycle race at Mount Panorama was in 2000. And so two-wheel racing coming back, definitely a plus.
Yeah, of course, the good thing is that the Easter weekend carnival hasn't disappeared. They've now converted it into the Bathurst 6 Hour, which has gone above capacity 3 years in a row as well. So to say that motorsport is dying is definitely not true, and everyone loves racing at the mountain. And to do it,
Anderson stays out. Oh,
Greg Stewart tried to jump into the pits ahead of Ethan Warren, which you're not allowed to do. You've got to stay in your line. And he's just been turned by Ethan Warren, who made a late call to jump in the pits.
Ouch. And significantly, Anderson staying out.
That hurts him.
Yeah, definitely does. So I'm just going to quickly dissect that Greg Stewart incident. Go back and have a bit of a look at that, because certainly a couple of things happened there.
So on board with Greg Stewart now coming through the chase, but you see what he does. He just, as soon as he jumps into the pit lane, he goes to accelerate and pass all the other cars, which you're not allowed to do. It is NASCAR style rules, so you do need to stay behind the car ahead of you, regardless of if you're in the pit lane or not. And Greg was just trying to take advantage of Ethan dropping off the pace a little bit there, because he wasn't sure what he wanted to do, and paid the price for that.
Yeah, certainly. That's a real shame there. Of course, we are of the knowledge that Greg Stewart wasn't exactly allowed to do what he did, but still, that late decision by Ethan Warren to get into the pits certainly played its part there.
Interesting, Michael Healy, 34-second stop. He's dropped all the way back to 18th position. The likes of Steve Jansen, 6.9 second stop. Ethan Warren, 7.3, 7.5 for Hamilton. So I'm thinking Healy's taken tyres. The rest have not. Fozan El Nabi and Mitchell McLeod have taken tyres for the second time. Which was a little bit interesting.
Yeah, that's definitely not something that I expected. I thought they'd stay on that same set of tyres for the rest of the race.
Well, especially when everyone around you has done that, unless he actually had a little bit of steering damage from that incident with Dane Warren when Warren hit the wall. But we've got 3 drivers that have stayed out at the front of the field: Anderson, McDonald and Ball. Now they're going to act as a little bit of a buffer to help out Anderson get a little bit of a breakaway from the rest of the field. I don't think he needs it. The pace he's had.
No, I don't think so either, and I definitely think that the decision by Anderson to stay out, I mean, his championship is definitely helped by Healy taking that long stop, but I feel like maybe he's banking on there being another safety car, which is always a bit of a rolling of the dice, even at Bathurst.
Yeah, but the way the pace car rules work, it doesn't necessarily help you waiting for and hoping for another safety car. I mean, you're forced to the back of the field anyway, regardless of where you are track position-wise, because you can't pit with a closed pit, so yeah. Doesn't necessarily work like it would in real-life racing. So yeah, I'm surprised he stayed out. I think a few people are scratching their head a little bit. Jason Cossey, believe it or not, is the first driver that has made a stop. Although, of course, he pitted under that first caution period. Probably still will have to come back in, but at the moment he's plus 16 positions as well as Steve Jansen.
Yeah, certainly. Cossey and Jansen doing very well there to make their way up. We'll have to wait and see what they can do in the remaining half an hour of this race. It has flown by, Jay. I mean, we say that an awful lot about these Wednesday night races, but they seem to go so quickly. Well,
we're halfway through it. We're already finished 2 of the sprint races that we would normally have in the original format, the normal format of a 15 and a 25. We would have had 2 of the 15-minute races pretty much done. So, got a full-length race still to come. And what we've seen from those throughout the season is you expect the unexpected, because you never know what is going to come next. Pace car starting to pull away. Anderson will control the field once again.
Indeed he will. And it will be interesting to see what he does here. Whether or not he decides to go for a green flag pit stop after pulling out a gap, we'll see. But the green flag will fly. Presently, Anderson is away. Very smooth start there. Jordan McDonald following him.
One thing to note too, Reese, is that the drivers actually have a compulsory pit stop as opposed to other races where they have the option to pit or can potentially save fuel. They must stop in these races tonight. So we did see that catch some drivers out in the Sprint Series Australasia around the ruling around safety cars and, around pit stops, compulsory pit stops. Everyone must pit in this race.
Yeah, they definitely must.
Oh, David Haynes up the inside of Thomas Hins.
Yeah, and Thomas McMillan getting crossed up on the exit. This is getting a bit leery back in the field. Hinsey going side by side with Cameron Dance. And Dance hold around the outside of the cutting. He's going to give it a red hot go.
All the commentators all getting in it together.
Yeah,
we talked about later.
Certainly will. Dance getting in front there across the top of the mountain. So once again, Dance doing a dance and making his way slowly but surely through the field. Adam Briggs and Thomas McMillan very close up ahead though, coming into the S's. Ross Rizzo is Oh no, there we go. Adam Briggs is around. This is not going to be good. He's going to be stuck right in the middle of it.
Oh no, Healy!
Another safety car. It's definitely going to be another safety car.
Healy's
Surely.
around.
The track is almost blocked. Michael Healy. Yes. My goodness. No safety car.
Wow, no safety car. We're going to get a replay.
Not a safety car.
Not sure. I'm guessing because every car actually was continuing to move. McLeod hit the wall hard. We also saw Forzan El Nabi hit the wall hard. Get a CPR replay, and you just started from that contact between McMillan and also Briggs, but McMillan just a little tap into the rear. It doesn't take much, and then Healy just got
cleaned up
by El Nabi, and then McLeod went the wrong way.
Actually, no. I think that wasn't entirely El Nabi's fault because Cody Bircher made rear-end contact with him there. It's just the accordion effect with everyone
Anderson
trying to avoid
pits.
Briggs.
Everyone coming in that hadn't pitted. So Jason Cossey now leads this race. Steve Jansen in second, but Ethan Warren is applying a lot of pressure right now. We'll see where Anderson comes out. He's stopped and away. Comes out ahead of Healy, which Healy's going to be absolutely hurting right now. Have a look at the damage to that car. He is done. And he's going to bring it straight into the pits to get damage fixed. That is heartbreaking for Michael Healy.
Yeah, I'll bet it's rage-inducing as well. Like, Healy's usually a pretty calm guy, but...
Oh, Ethan Warren, don't go there. Oh! Ethan Warren trying to go around the outside at the exit of the cutting. Up the mountain. It's getting held up big time by Steve Jansen. Cossey starting to pull away. Jansen just clips the wall. Ethan Warren's applying a lot of pressure, and Gary Hamilton's getting in there too.
Yeah, he definitely is. You can see Ethan Warren's just hurling the car at the apex as Thomas McMillan black flagged for avoidable contact with car 72. So that was for the contact with Briggs there. McMillan having to serve a stop-and-go penalty there, I would presume. But Ethan Warren really monstering the back of Steve Jansen here. You can tell Jansen just doesn't have that mid-corner speed. McMillan, sorry, Warren, my apologies, getting my all-star drivers mixed up.
There's a lot of them.
the draft. Yeah, there is a lot of them. Some of them even share the same last name. Ethan Warren going for the move here at the chase. Move. Yeah, looks like he's going to get it done. Meanwhile, Scott Kozlowski holding off Gary Hamilton. Looks like actually he may have made it past him.
Yeah, he's got the
down
move done as well.
Straight. Yeah.
So
there's someone going in the pits behind them.
Yeah, it's
That's McMillan serving his penalty.
Yeah.
Oh no! Oh
no! Maloney.
Yeah, Maloney.
Whoa!
Careful. That would almost have been the rejoin of the century.
If he could actually bounce it off the curb properly, it would have been amazing to watch. It's Maloney. We'll get a CPR replay again. Now, see if we can pick up exactly what happened.
It looks like he just lost it under brakes.
Yeah, I just missed his braking point and locked it up. Possibly got the right-hand wheels on the grass there too, but went to rejoin and just that curb. It's so aggressive. You don't realise how aggressive that curb is. Back out it comes. McMillan has served his drive-through and rejoined just ahead of Joshua Anderson. Anderson's going to get done, though, down or up Mountain Straight.
Oh, or is he? Have a look at McMillan
trying
to defend here. Wow, McMillan's going to hold on.
Good move.
Yeah. Very well held. Of course, Anderson, I think Anderson can't afford to be too aggressive with these moves. He does still have his championship to think about. If he ends up retiring from this one, it's going to give Healy the championship. So it's going to have to be priority number one for Anderson to keep it nice and clean here.
And Healy has continued on, got back out on the circuit, but he will be hoping for a safety car. Needs a safety car to get back in with any chances. Ethan Warren is up the inside of Jason Cossey at the exit of Forest Elbow. Takes the race lead.
Very good job there from Ethan Warren, and Cossey is going to try and stay with him as much as he possibly can, but I tell you what, as Cossey's in the draft, what do we always say, Jay? Bathurst always turns it on. Chaos has erupted here.
Expect the unexpected, because that's what you always get at Bathurst. And Jason Cossey looked very, very strong, and that was what we were talking about earlier when we're under that safety car period. The wind here is so extreme that the draft effects are just exacerbated because that front car is basically punching a massive hole through the air. Second, third, fourth car back. Fourth car back, you're going to get an incredible run coming into the chase, but you've got to make sure that you then use that to your advantage and not outbrake yourself.
Absolutely. It's and outbraking yourself is a very easy thing to do in these cars because you do need some light pressure on the brake pedal. These brakes lock very easily in the Porsches. Kozlowski with the run on Janssen, going to go for the inside here at Griffins. This should be an easy done move. Janssen yielding on the entry there, just trying to get on that inside line. Bit of oversteer, unfortunately. Gary Hamilton drawing the short straw there.
Also saw Jordan McDonald get past Thomas McMillan. Anderson absolutely broke away from McMillan as well once he got through. So Anderson's already pulled 3.5 seconds.
Yeah, Anderson turning it up here in terms of pace. I'm sure priority number one for him at the moment is to just get back to as high a position as possible because the main championship rival, Michael Healy, down in 22nd. David Haynes, meanwhile, occupying, I believe, 7th position under a lot of pressure from Hins, Dance and Stewart.
And David Haynes has pretty much played this game all season long, just keeps it clean, keeps it out of trouble, just drives nice and consistent. We think back to that race at Laguna Seca where he somehow avoided huge contact with one of the TTL drivers. I can't remember exactly who that was now. Mitch McLeod was involved.
Yeah,
oh, this
I think
Jason Cossey side by side with Solowski taken to the grass down Conrad Straight.
Yeah, goodness me. They definitely push it hard, don't they, down Conrad? Cossey, unfortunately, not able to get through on him. And Steve Janssen actually has managed to hold on very well versus Gary Hamilton.
Car around.
Oh.
John McDonald around at the crest on Conrad Straight. And I think we might see another safety car here because he is stopped. Safety car is out.
Yes, indeed.
What's happened there?
Looks to me like it's contact with Thomas McMillan down Conrad. McMillan just holding. Oh, McMillan moving over. That's what happened. I think McMillan, he tried to defend, but he just kept moving over as McDonald drew alongside.
Wow, that's heavy contact. And then he got clipped by, I believe, Scotty Harris as well. So,
yeah,
the second contact's the one that actually did the damage there. But yet another safety car, and McMillan might come under the wrath of race control once again. We'll see here. You'll see across the track, and Scotty Harris just about avoided contact. He's brought it back into the pits to get damage fixed because that was pretty heavy contact. But we come back live. We're back under safety car again. Anderson wouldn't be too happy about this, but Michael Healy will be over the moon that there's another safety car.
Yeah, absolutely. It gives him a little bit of a free kick that he needs at the moment to regain this title fight. Oh, McMillan still in a bit of trouble here. Actually clipped the wall on the exit of Griffins, so I think the frustration might be getting to the number 248.
We saw him do a great job on the weekend in the Race to Reality showdown. Sorry, the Sim to Supercar showdown. That was blast from the past.
That's a blast from the past.
That's
wow,
like 5 years ago. That series was.
Goodness me.
Wow. Showing my age here.
And suddenly it was 2013 again.
It was. That was when you debuted in the commentary box too. That was a long time ago.
Yeah.
But McMillan did a great job in those first two races in the Aussie Driver Search event. We both said, well, we all said how well a job he'd done and how mature of a drive he's done. But tonight, unfortunately, hasn't been able to maintain that high standard he set.
Yeah,
and, Ethan Warren comes around to pick up the pace car.
Yes, indeed. Jordan McDonnell asking for a race control investigation regarding that incident, but I'm sure they're already on that.
I'm very sure they would be. I'm pretty sure they would have already made a decision on it too. I think that's
true.
a fairly easy decision to make.
Yes, indeed. So Ethan Warren miles ahead of the rest of the field. They've got a fair way to catch up before Warren and the safety car. It's currently an All-Star Motorsports 1-2. Kozlowski occupying second place.
1-2-8 for All-Star Motorsports as well, with Thomas Hinz in 8th. We've got the commentators all together, and well, we could almost say 6th, 7th, 8th and 9th there, with Ross Rizzo jumping in the booth for us on Friday night for the Australian Online Supercar Championship. So SimSpeed TV, 6th, 7th, 8th and 9th.
Very nice. Sure. Damn, we go all right, don't we?
For a pair of blokes that don't really race too much, we go all right.
Hey,
although you do a little bit. You've been doing some rallycross tonight.
Yeah. And I've also been doing quite a bit of league racing elsewhere with my ovals and sports cars and all that sort of stuff.
You have been getting your oval fix recently, haven't you? It's been good to watch you do some oval racing.
Yeah, well,
I think I need to get back into that myself.
Yeah, I think you do as well. That's
It's the only thing I used to go all right at, so I probably should.
Yeah, I still have some good memories back when we were actual teammates in a sim racing team of doing those NASCAR races, and you being my spotter, telling me that there was a car alongside, and I was like, yeah, I know, my spotter already told me that.
I did always used to have to repeat it though, because the one time you don't say it is the one time you don't know.
This is true. This is very true, and I appreciate it at the end of it all.
So make sure you do jump in and do some oval racing. If you've never done it, it is game-changing. You don't know what you're missing. A lot harder than you think.
Yeah, definitely. And it really depends on the safety car. Yep. Certainly a big element there. Don't know what oval racing would be without cautions.
Don't forget, we will have oval racing back here on SimSpeed TV as part of the major series next year. The schedule's been announced, and first oval race will be the Daytona 500 once again. We'll have the entire international region here on SimSpeed TV next year. Saturday nights though next year. Looking forward to the date change. I think it's going to be quite cool. Hopefully it means that we'll get a few extra drivers turn up.
Yeah, certainly. Definitely, holding the races on Sundays definitely made sure that there was some conflict with a few drivers who would otherwise have done the series. But I'll tell you what, the racing that we did have in the majors certainly was some of the best that we've seen, and I really look forward to seeing the series kick off for next year.
Yep, cannot wait for the majors to get back going again, and we've got a few other new series coming too here on SimSpeed TV next year as well. Some more announcements to come in the coming weeks. GT Leagues Australia are announcing their schedules soon as well for next year. So we already know that the Sprint Series Australasia moving to GTE next year. Looking forward to that. That's going to be a really cool series as well as GT3 for the first 3 seasons. The evolution to GT, I think, a really, really positive one.
Yeah, certainly. I mean, GT3 has long been the most popular category on iRacing, but since the GTE cars were released, I think they have definitely taken that crown, and it really shows with iRacing changing the VRS World Championship GT Series to GTE from GT3, and oh my goodness, I've just noticed Thomas Hinz, technical issues. Yeah, he's out of the server.
Yep, he's just had a technical issue and he's out. Then again, he might have decided to pull the pin because he does work bizarre hours, so he might have decided to go and have a little nap. So that ruins our 4 in a row from the comms booth. We'll still take 3 in a row, back to back.
Yeah, we definitely not a bad thing. Yeah, Hinsey, a baker by trade, so unfortunately he doesn't get much
probably
time
about to go and start
race.
Work.
Yeah, most likely.
Still got 20 runners in this race. Nobody's opted to jump into the pits, which I'm surprised about that nobody's jumped in to get a little bit of damage fixed. But for a race at Bathurst to have about 25% of the field drop, not too surprising around a 45 minutes of a 1 hour long race. I think the attrition rate's actually been a little bit better than I was originally expecting. You'd usually see a little bit more damage in these sort of races, hour races in these sort of cars, tough cars around a tough circuit. But we'll go green this time by. Going to leave us with around about 7 laps of racing, maybe 6 laps of racing to go.
Yeah, it's going to be an out-and-out sprint to the end here. Just over the 44-minute mark right now. Lights are out on the safety car, so we'll be in this lap. So where is Anderson in the midst of all of this? Anderson is currently in P13. David Haynes occupying position 7, and Michael Healy in 16th. So still very close between himself and Anderson. Anderson's still currently in the box seat to win the championship, but if both of those guys get into an incident, which of course is very likely, then David Haynes will certainly be in the box seat to take a surprise title win.
Yeah, it was a mathematical almost impossibility, but you know, these two guys are now very, very close together, and the way that they're sitting on the track, there is every chance that if there is an incident back there, they could take each other out. It could open the door for David Haynes to steal a crown. Unlikely, but not impossible.
Certainly not. What position does Haynes need to finish in if they both retire? I've got
no idea. I think he has to win, but that's not out of the realms of possibility as well. Currently in 7th, saving fuel, so he's going to be good to go all the way to the end. It's not out of the realms of possibility. It's not likely, but it's not impossible.
Well, coming down Conrod Straight for the 16th time. All-Star Motorsports really standing a good chance of ending on a high despite Dane Warren's unfortunate incident earlier on.
Yeah, it sort of changed the whole complexion of the race, that incident from Dane Warren. I'm sure he won't be too happy with how that's played out, but his brother's doing a good job in his absence at the front of the field, with Ethan now leading this race. He's going to lead it with about 13 minutes to go when we go green. Lead it coming into the final phase of this race. I believe from this point on as well, there'll be no more safety cars as well.
Right, well, that's certainly going to change things up a bit for drivers who may have been hoping for at least one more opportunity to get themselves back into the pits and perhaps gain a bit of a strategy advantage, but that is indeed the end of that. So Ethan Warren now following the safety car quite closely compared to what other drivers have in this race so far.
He's not backing up at all, is he? It's a little bit surprising. I think the experience factor might be a thing here, that he hasn't quite experienced the leading of the pack up behind the safety car. Of course, he can go any time from now. Back up the field a little bit just before then, and we'll go green right now. 12 and a half minutes to go.
Yes, indeed. And he's just gone to get on that throttle right before the apex of Murray's, which we haven't seen anyone do before. David Haynes, though, under pressure from Cameron Dance and Gary Hamilton by Steve Jansen. Ross Rizzo now making sure that he can get up alongside as well. So the back of this pack here absolutely turning it on in the final stages. Hamilton.
Oh, Rizzo! Oh, that's a massive slide.
Take care, guys. Yeah, very well held there from Rizzo, but now Steve Jansen might just be the cork in the bottle. Gary Hamilton now chasing down Jason Cossey for 3rd position.
Great to see Gary Hamilton back out on track too. We've sort of seen him around for a long time, but he disappeared off the sphere of sim racing for a little while and come back again. Great to see him out there. Always been really consistent in his positions up the front of the field, and always been a big fan of this car as well.
Yes, indeed. He is right on the back of Jason Cossey now. Cossey struggling slightly in the S's as the field comes scything down the mountain once again. Oh, Hamilton right alongside here, and Cossey I think just yielding to him there. Cossey just, I think, let off the throttle slightly. Oh, almost in the wall there on the exit of the elbow. So this is going to let the pack by alongside him. Cossey in a very unenviable position here. He's got a long train of cars queuing up to take at least one more position. He's going to have to be careful here. Rizzo around the outside. Dance thinking about it.
Oh, 2 by 2.
For it. Yeah, 2 by 2 through the chase, and Ross Rizzo unfortunately not able to get the run. Steve Jansen's managed to hold on through all of this.
Wow, unbelievable. Rizzo through, Dance now through, and will David Haynes be able to come through as well? Cody Birch is getting involved too. Richard Hunter and Thomas McMillan have also changed position, but McMillan into the pits. So I'm believing that's a pit lane drive-through penalty as well for McMillan.
Yes, indeed. Anderson round the outside of Greg Stewart, who, oh, El Nabi on the grass. Joshua Anderson continuing his fight up through the field. He now occupies position 10.
Not too far off David Haynes as well.
No, certainly not.
Interesting in itself. Cossey now losing another spot to David Haynes. Cody Birch are trying to get through as well. Oh, Haynes around the outside and almost contact between Cossey and Haynes.
Oh. Yeah, but they managed to get away with it. Oh, and Cossey very slow. He's backing up the rest of the pack here. Cody Birch.
Pack's going to get angry too.
Oh, he certainly is.
Oh, Cossey's in the wall.
There we go. Oh,
he's taken Anderson. Anderson's upside down.
Oh my God. Wow. My goodness!
Oh my!
The championship's completely flipped on its head!
We just heard too from race control that there would not be any cautions unless there was something unbelievably huge. Well, that was almost it. Healy now ahead of Anderson. If they finish where they are right now, I believe that that's Michael Healy's championship.
It might just be.
Wow, we said that there was a potential for incidents. I don't know if Anderson's going to make it back to the pits here.
Well, he's slowly crawling his way through the S's here, really struggling to maintain control of that car. Oh, how would you be? And Anderson did absolutely nothing wrong there.
Well, yeah, Anderson was just following there, was making sure that he left a little bit of a gap to try and come through with either of them. Made a mistake, but that was not the mistake he was expecting to happen. And Anderson now going to have to bring it into the pits. He's limping down the mountain. 4 spots between he and his teammate in Michael Healy. Anderson, don't loop it around. He's into the fence. Struggling to bring it home, but he's trying to get it home as quick as he can. Adam Briggs also in the pits, who got caught up in that one. And we'll probably also see Jason Cossey come into the pits. He's got smoke coming out of the engine.
It's all about the points from here. Anderson can't retire. He needs to salvage some kind of points finish here, but he is around on the entry to the chase. Oh, man. But he needs to get into a points-paying position, because anything can still happen here. Even though the race is in its dying stages, anything can still happen, and those few points might just make the difference. But, oh, Anderson really struggling to maintain control, but I think he will indeed make it back to the pits.
Go back up the front because Steve Jansen, Ross Rizzo, Cameron Dance, David Haynes, these guys are going at it. Not too far off as well as Cody Bircher. But this pack has got very, very angry. Dance looks the most racy out of all of these guys, as we've seen throughout this season. Dance is able to get moves done. And of course, Jansen did qualify right at the back of the field, so definitely a little bit of a pace advantage for the rest of these guys. But not able to get the moves done. I think the wind is probably playing a factor in that as well, because it's tough to pass with the current wind conditions.
Yeah, it certainly is. I mean, these guys are going to have the mother of all drafts behind Steve Jansen, but will they be able to take advantage of it? Jansen doesn't have anyone to draft himself, so
Anderson is back out on the track. Stayed on the lead lap too.
Very fortunate. Oh my goodness, have a look at Ross Rizzo going for the dive on Steve Jansen. Oh, they almost make contact.
Wow.
Jansen holding on around the outside. This is a superstar drive from Steve Jansen at the moment. The amount of pressure that he is managing to hold off from these guys is absolutely immense. And I think this really shows, like, his 2018, Steve Jansen, we barely gave him the time of day at the start of the year, but now he's featuring right in the spotlight.
Rizzo!
And goodness me. And see, that right there is the pressure getting to Ross Rizzo. He's just unable to get the move done on Jansen.
Wow, what a race-changing moment that was. Anderson has got back out on the circuit, currently in 17th position. We need to get an update from race control in regards to points. McMillan has come in the pits, but Healy now is in 12th. We'll see if we can get an update if the guys stay in this position that they're in now as to who wins the championship. Of course, there's still going to be reviews post-race. I'm sure there's going to be a few incidents that are going to be reviewed after this race is complete. As Forzen El Nabi through on Cody Bircher, side by side through Griffin's Bend. Through the cutting. Oh, Bircher in the wall! Oh! Track's blocked.
Oh, no.
Oh, and Healy's in that.
Oh, no! Oh, no! I'll tell you what.
What has gone on tonight?
David Haynes is looking better and better as time goes on towards the end of this race. Oh, who knows? Who knows?
That's all started from Bircher and El Nabi side by side. And Bircher just over that little rise, just clipped the wall on the inside. And then Michael Healy, nowhere to go, but made contact with, I can't believe it was Forzen El Nabi facing the wrong way, possibly Ross Rizzo. But Trick Sim Sports, uncharacteristic from those guys. And it was Rizzo that he made contact with. Just when we thought that this race was starting to settle down, it's changed again.
Goodness me. It certainly has. I mean, goodness. Yeah, it looks to me like that's weird. It looked to me like El Nabi gave Bircher enough room there. It's just Bircher turned in a bit early.
Yeah, I don't think Bircher was quite could judge exactly where that other car was. Healy's continuing on. He knows he's only got 3 laps to go. He's hoping that his car will hold on. Of course, possibly should be okay in regards to cooling of the car with no lid on it. Should be okay. Ross Rizzo in the pit, so Healy will gain another spot. That'll also mean Anderson will likely gain another spot. Put them in 11th and 15th. That makes it very, very tight in regards to championship points. I'm not exactly sure how it plays out at this point. We'll try and find out as soon as we can.
Yes, indeed. We'll have to wait for an update on that because I am looking for the points as they are awarded in the regulations, but I can't find them.
I can't either. Bircher around, which gives Healy another spot. Scotty Harris also in the pits and stopped, so Anderson's going to gain a spot from Scotty Harris. Won't gain one from Rizzo because Rizzo has got back out on track. But Healy now in 10th, Anderson in 16th. So that's put an extra gap between David Haynes in 6th, putting pressure on Janssen now. What an amazing end to both of our seasons that we've had here on Wednesday nights.
Yeah, absolutely. It's been absolutely crazy. Bircher just got on the wall again and is really struggling with that car right now. Isaac Edwards just coming up on him here, and I think Bircher, he's going slower and slower and slower. He might retire
here.
Maybe.
Which means that Anderson will get another spot, put him 10th and 15th, which Anderson's now 15th, put 10th and 14th. I don't think Healy's going to be able to catch Richard Hunter, especially with that damage he's got, but Anderson, he's going to have to hope that more and more cars drop out because he is now in 14th position, as looks like time has just updated. McMillan, something's happened to McMillan. He's hit the wall very hard. We'll get a CPR replay, and we're about to go on to 2 laps to go. Yeah. What has happened to McMillan? He's hit the wall. Oh, massive contact with the wall. He's just car not handling well. He's done exactly the same thing as Dane Warren.
Yeah, that's almost really unfortunate. Yeah. Just ricocheting between those concrete walls. And that puts an end to what's been a horror race for McMillan, really. He's really gotten the short end of the stick there. Made a couple of bad decisions.
He'll bounce back from that, though. He's doesn't lack any heart, does Thomas McMillan. Does Steve Janssen?
No,
the heart that he's got in this race has been very, very impressive, and currently in 5th and holding off David Haynes and very, very aggressively doing a great job.
Absolutely. I was saying that Janssen's 2018 has been a fairy tale year for him. He's had some very strong results in the latter part of the year, as have quite a few drivers from Team CMR.
Reese, we've got an update in regards to the points. If they finish in their current positions, Anderson is clear by 3 points.
Oh.
Birch is
gotta
continuing.
remember.
So if Healy can get a spot somehow, which is very, very possible if there's an incident, the championship is not done.
No,
it's not over.
Certainly not. Yeah, if Healy passes anyone without Anderson gaining another position, then yeah, that is Healy taking the championship.
So Ethan Warren coming into the chase for the second to last time. He will get the white flag this time by. So we're going to have one more lap of racing at the front of the field. Actually, Healy's in trouble. He could lose a spot to Adam Briggs, who's closing up quite quickly. We'll go to that because Jansen and Haynes is not changing position. I think Haynes is quite comfortable and happy just sitting there behind at the moment. Knows that he doesn't have to worry behind, but Briggs could have a factor in regards to the finale of this championship. If he can get this move done, which it looks like he's going to do very, very easily.
Healy's just got no straight line speed. In fact, I think he lifted off.
I think he's also struggling in regards to keeping the car in a straight line too. The car does not look like it's tracking overly well. What a heartbreaking night for all of the One Performance drivers. They've got so many drivers out in the field and none of them have had any luck other than bad. You can see under brakes there how much Healy's struggling, but the clock is now at 0. This is the last lap of the race. We'll see if it stays as it is. Healy in 11th. Anderson in 14th. Looks like at the moment Anderson has done enough.
And just enough at that.
Literally just.
Yeah, absolutely. What a season it has been. What a season finale it has been. It's always the same at Bathurst. It's never the same.
The more it changes, the more it's absolutely the same every single time. Now in regards to the current positions, it is a 53-point advantage to Anderson. So Anderson now with one hand on the championship as he comes around to start his final lap. The nerves will be starting to rise, but at the same time we'll be starting to feel a little bit more comfortable about that gap.
Yes, indeed. I don't even know if he's quite aware of what the gap is right now.
Probably just hearing from his teammates who are watching the broadcast. But Ethan Warren is the only driver that's really kept it out of trouble at the front.
Yeah, definitely. Him and Scott Kozlowski. Kozlowski a bit of a dent, but other than that, Ethan Warren absolutely has done everything right in this race. Here at Bathurst, it's all about staying out of trouble. And he's going to lead a possible 1-2 because Gary Hamilton bearing down on Scott Kozlowski. It looks like he might not get him. Ethan Warren taking the win here. Fantastic victory. Fantastic 1-2 for All-Star Motorsports. And Gary Hamilton to third. An excellent drive from him. And
Steve Jansen, man of the match.
Yes, indeed. Man of the match, Steve Jansen. And Cameron Dance doing what we always expect him to do, making it 4th from 14th. David Haynes, though, another excellent, mostly trouble-free race.
Michael Healy will get it home in position 11. He's got Ross Rizzo, the next car back. Isaac Edwards is behind, but he is 2 laps down. So Healy will bring it home in 11th. Not quite enough in the end. You have to wonder if he wasn't caught up in that incident there with the Trick Sim Sport guys, which there was no malice or intent there. It was just a little bit of an unfortunate incident there when Cody Bircher clipped the wall. And has that cost Healy the championship? We won't know because as it is right now, One Performance Racing, Vandervelde Sim Racing's driver of Josh Anderson will come down Conrad Straight for the final time. And he
already celebrating.
Looks like he is well and truly got this one. It looks like he's going to pass his teammate in Bircher as well, who's struggling to bring it home. Might actually be almost blown up, is Bircher. But well done to Josh Anderson. Thoroughly deserving of this title.
Yeah, absolutely. He's shown himself to have very mature head and taken some fantastic victories, very dominant victories through the season. Healy managed to hold on, but at the end of the day, Anderson, through the chaos, he comes through to take the championship. He is the Porsche Supercup Australasia champion.
Michael Healy will finish the championship in 2nd, going back from his championship win in 2017. So well done to both of those drivers on a hard-fought championship. Of course, Healy was unable to attend in the last round, and you have to wonder whether that had any impact in regards to his championship fight. But Josh Anderson, thoroughly deserving, and he's going to leave some 11s up Mountain Straight.
And some O's as well, for good measure.
Leave a big 111.
True. Very true.
I don't know. I've got nothing left. I don't think the wall's the way to go, though. He's just going to burn it off the wall. But race results on screen.
Race results on screen indeed. Ethan Warren taking the victory. Scott Kozlowski making it an All-Star Motorsports 1-2. Gary Hamilton completes the podium with Dance, Jansen and Haynes. 3 can't count, of your best finishes in this one. Fantastic runs from those guys. Greg Stewart, despite his earlier incident coming into the pits, manages to recover to finish 7th. Jimmy Ball in 8th with Richard Hunter in 9th, and Adam Briggs rounding out the top 10.
Heartbreak for Healy. He does finish at 11th position in the end, but he just seemed to find himself in the wrong spot at the wrong time throughout that race. Ross Rizzo in 12th position with Anderson securing the championship with an unlikely 13th position. You wouldn't have thought that at the start of the race. Cody Bircher in 14th, Jason Cossey 15th. Race of what might have been for McMillan. He's in 16th position with the rest of our... Isaac Edwards did finish the race in 17th, and the DNF, Scotty Harris, Fozen Alnami, Tim Weston, Thomas Hinds, Jordan McDonnell. Then we've got Jake Maloney, Mitch McLeod, and Dane Warren, all unfortunately out of the race.
Yeah, some big heartbreak here at Bathurst for quite a few people, but it's going to be celebration in the One Performance camp, particularly for this guy we've got in the commentary box right now, Josh Anderson. It was a really chaotic last half of the race, but you pulled through and you are the champion.
Yeah, thanks, Reece. It's it's not particularly the way I wanted to win it, but a win's a win, or in the championship anyway. So yeah, I guess I'm pretty happy with that.
Yeah, for sure. It was quite the start from you, really coming under pressure from Dane Warren in the early stages of the race. But I suppose, did you come into this anticipating that there would be as much carnage as there was?
No, I probably didn't realize there would be safety cars. So when I did my strategy, I realized it would be, but I didn't realize the impact of having a 3 or 4 minute or longer safety car period. So I sort of, made a few little strategic mistakes, which is why I didn't win the race. But Dane was unlucky what he did. I was really like the championship for me. I care about it, but I love racing. I like battling, so I was sort of disappointed that he crashed, but it would have been a good battle. But
yeah, definitely. We did find it very curious that you stayed out in those first couple of safety car periods, but at the end of the day, you and Michael Healy, you finished close together, but you were able to just take it. So I guess at the end of the day, a championship's a championship.
Yeah, true. It's as I said, it's not particularly the way I wanted to win it, having to worry about points in the last few laps. But as I said, the win's a win, and I got it done. It was a bit. I was ruining my little strategic error. With about 5 laps to go when I got in that big shunt. But thank God for fast repairs, I guess. Yeah, that's me. And even then, to be honest, I wasn't driving particularly smart in that, because I'm very, very competitive. I hate not winning, and I probably should have just in P11 or wherever I was, just given up and taken the spot. But I was pushing a little too. I was a little ambitious, I'll say that. So maybe I got what I deserved, but yeah, I guess I escaped in the end.
You certainly did, and you have the driver's title in your hands, and also One Performance Racing taking the team's championship title. So in light of that, before we let you go, Josh, any shout-outs?
Yeah, obviously, first off, One Performance Racing and Dylan Shepherd put in an insane amount of work in getting good in the Porsche, which is sort of our little car that we enjoy driving. Also, my other team, Vandervaal Sim Racing, in everything other than the Porsche, they've helped me improve a lot as a driver since I've joined them. So, and everyone, like tonight, we had in Discord, Scotty, Jordan, Jimmy, everyone doing and Cody especially at the end there, I should add, doing my strategy and telling me how many points I needed to do, and Cody letting me pass at the end there he didn't have to do that. It was really top marks. So yeah, it was pretty good to see.
Excellent stuff. Joshua Anderson, your championship winner in the SimSpeed Porsche Supercup Australasia. Jay, we've interviewed the championship winner, but you have the race winner.
I do, and I know that this man didn't want to come in for a chat at all. Ethan Warren, congratulations. You just played the strategy game right, kept the car out of trouble, and picked up the win. Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you. It was actually good fun, yeah.
Firstly, why didn't you want to come up for a chat?
Oh, a bit nervous. My first one.
I'm going to say congratulations. This is your first broadcast win here on SimSpeed TV, I believe.
Yes, I think so, yeah.
Well done, mate. Congratulations. It's been a long time coming, and this year's probably hasn't quite gone to plan for you, but finishing off the season very, very well. Talk us through the strategy game for you and what your plan was, especially at the start of the race there, the pressure you were applying on Michael Healy.
Yeah, I was just trying to keep the car clean basically the whole race. But we had Rizzo in the Discord. He was basically helping us out the whole race. We had this strategy, like we pit under safety car, and yeah, we'll kind of tossing up whether to do it or not, and finally made the call, and yeah, it kind of worked out in the end, really. And then we saw that Anderson pit, and yeah, kind of wondering why he did, because it sort of messed him up a bit, but yeah.
Talk to us about what happened in your pit stop there, though, when you were coming into the pits, contact with Greg Stewart there.
Yeah, that was interesting. I kind of made a last decision to come in after seeing, I can't remember who was ahead of me, but kind of, yeah, I'll take the blame for that, I guess.
Either way, first ever broadcast win here on SimSpeed TV. Congratulations. Who would you like to thank?
Yeah, thank you. I'd just like to thank, huge thanks to Racorp, Cascentric, and Sim Racing.
So congratulations, Ethan Warren. First ever broadcast here on SimSpeed TV. We might wrap it up, though, Reese. We've got one last announcement to make before we wrap it up. And GT Leagues Australia done a great job throughout the year in regards to all of our broadcasts that we've brought here.
Yeah, absolutely. It's been a pleasure to present these championships as well. Certainly filling what has been a bit of a void in the AusNZ community in the past year. Of course, you know, the V8 supercar gets the spotlight a lot of the time and is the most raced car by far in our area of the world, but our sports car racing scene definitely deserves some recognition, and all of this has definitely gone some way to mitigating the lack of exposure that we've sometimes seen it get. But yeah, Sprint Series Australasia coming up next year. Certainly excited, especially with the run to GTE.
Yep, so we can confirm 10 rounds starting the 16th of January next year, Wednesday nights once again. So looking forward to that here on SimSpeed TV next year. So make sure you do tune in nice and early in the year. It'll be great to start that off with a bang. It'll be our first week back broadcasting too after our Christmas break. We'll have a big week that week. We've got, on the Monday, we'll have the return of the V8 Supercars. Wednesday, we'll have the Sprint Series. And then on the Saturday night, we're going to have the first round of majors. So it's going to be a big welcome back to racing when we come back from our Christmas break.
Absolutely. It's going to be an absolutely huge year, 2019. Stay tuned to our social media channels for all of that. We are SimSpeed Esports on Facebook, and we're also SimSpeed Esports on Twitter. Also subscribe to the iRacing Esports Network for your almost daily dose of iRacing live broadcasts. Jay, it's been a fun season for sure.
It has been, both seasons that we've brought for GT Leagues Australia. All 3 seasons, actually, with the Oceanic Endurance Championship as well, have been a huge amount of fun, and we thank the entire crew at GT Leagues Australia for all of their support and continuing to support us here at SimSpeed TV as we go forward and on to bigger and bigger things in the coming months and years.
Certainly. Thank you very much, everyone, for watching. Our pleasure to present this broadcast to you tonight. You have watched on the iRacing Esports Network, presented by ourselves, SimSpeed TV, the SimSpeed Porsche Supercup Australasia, a crowned champion in Joshua Anderson, and a first-time broadcast race winner in Ethan Warren. We'll see you later.
The following is a presentation of the iRacing Esports Network.